I don't know why I'm nervous to share this, but this is my testimony. So I grew up in a Christian family and I was kind of rebellious and curious. So I always had one foot in the world and one foot out. I was a type of Christian who believed in Jesus, but wanted to see how far I could kind of push that boundary. A Christian who only worshiped on a Sunday, but forgot about God throughout the rest of the week. Because I didn't have a relationship with Jesus, I wasn't fully convinced that he was the one. Being unsatisfied, I was on a mission to find the truth. So I did everything from church hopping, trying different religions, different spirituality, New Age for 2 years, and even dabbled in psychic practices, tarot cards, and mediums. I was wildly obsessed, but I only found myself sinking deeper into this occultic rabbit hole because I realized that I opened up Pandora's box and crossed so many spiritual boundaries that almost took my life. After being saved, I found out that my ancestors actually practiced witchcraft, so that unnatural pull to even dabble in those things made sense because I almost felt like something was trying to get me to finish what they started. The thing about human beings is that we actually desire to know the truth, but the different avenues that we take to get there might be deceptive. Through New Age, I experienced Kundalini for the first time. It felt euphoric and like a shock that traveled up my spine. I also felt high, like if I took drugs, and I had like this partial numbness that I almost couldn't control or describe. The scary part about this was one day I woke up with burning marks all over my body, and some of the individuals that were practicing in the occult said that that was part of the purging and enlightenment process. My circle and I at the time didn't care to know who Jesus was, so it was really easy for me not to care because that's just the company that I kept. I even felt like an atheist at one point because I was one of those people who would always say, I'll just believe it when I see it. But God did not let me go that easily. Through my rebellion, He continued to remind me that He called us to be set apart. And that meant letting go of people, places, or things that were holding us back from actually committing to Him. After being saved and experiencing the Holy Spirit for the first time, I recognized that feeling that came over me when I was in that Kundalini trance. But this time it felt pure. I felt the glory of God in its purest form. And I realized that Kundalini was a counterfeit to the Holy Spirit. I didn't really know who I was until God showed me my identity that I was running from. Not only did my self-worth magnify because I asked God to kind of complete me in that sense, but my eyes were open to the spiritual world in a different way. It was never really about religion. It was more about relationship. After all the rejection and the confusion, I felt like I could finally breathe again. If you're someone who's still questioning if God is real, let me tell you what happened next. What really sets Jesus apart from everything that I've practiced was the fact that miracles still happen in His name. So someone that I had to leave behind who was still practicing dark magic was trying to give me a farewell hug. So I accepted the hug, but the next day for the entire day, I fell into sickness. I was so weak and my skin just had this weird, creepy, crawly, itching sensation. Like it was so bad that I felt like I had to light my skin on fire just to stop the itching. Later that night, there was a prophetic prayer meeting with a bunch of other believers, and I only wanted to go for the sake of feeling peace in my body again. I didn't know how to pray powerful prayers. I didn't even know how to do a proper 1-minute prayer. So I asked someone to pray over me. And as soon as they prayed for me, I just felt the sickness and the weakness and the itching lift off of me just like that. It was completely gone. I really thought that miracles died when Jesus died, but the fact that that happened in that moment with other witnesses really blew my mind. It really proved to me that Jesus' spirit was still alive and working. Guys, this world is more than materialism and shallowness. I still go through struggles, but knowing that I have the peace that surpasses all understanding made everything that I left behind for Christ worth it. Honestly, you can't find this type of peace or love in other people or worldly ambition because everything passes away. People are broken, but God stays the same. Nothing else in this world matters because this is not your permanent home. So since then, I really committed myself as a living sacrifice to live holy, abstinent, pure, and not ignoring the signs. I feel like we get obsessed over things that really don't matter, but your soul matters to God. I just want you to know that you are loved beyond comprehension. And as 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, when you remember who you are, you remember whose you are.